Hey everyone, my name is Erin Ross, and this is my Artist Spotlight, where it is my mission to connect you with amazing artists all over Instagram so that you can learn from their experiences and discover the secrets to their success. In my 8th episode, I'll be interviewing Simon Hinterman, or @Arumek on Instagram. He is a freelance illustrator from Switzerland, and he specializes in fantasy environments. The world that he's created inside his illustrations is full of rolling hills, green grass, and whimsical cottages. His goal with his art is to give us all some space to breathe. His illustrations are a peaceful escape from the imperfect world that we live in. I hope you guys enjoy his art as much as I do. But before we jump into the interview, I would like to take a minute to talk about the sponsor of today's episode. Tiny Tutor is the Etsy shop that all the creative moms, dads, and teachers need to check out. The owner of the shop creates custom token boards, rewards charts, and problem-solving and number-matching games. Some come as pre-made boards that ship to you, and others are digital downloads that you can print at home. These boards provide fun and interactive ways to develop the minds of your young children, so all you moms, dads, and teachers, head over to the shop after you're done watching this episode. The link is down in the description.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, yes. Made it. Right time.
I made it. I was rushing like crazy.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, my boss was running late, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, no worries. That's
Okay,
the first time
perfect.
I've actually gotten a time zone wrong and showed up at the wrong time. Which is surprising because like most of the people I've interviewed so far have been in like drastically different time zones. How are you? It's 6 now over there.
Exactly, yeah, 6. So I just got off from work.
Nice. Where do you work?
I work in HR, in personnel development. So anything to do with kind of courses, wanting to get ahead in some way, just goes to our desk.
That's
and
cool.
Like a company with like 800 employees or something like this.
Oh.
So it can't be handled by just finance or something like this.
Yeah, you need their own team.
Especially since it's in healthcare, so there's a lot of school going on.
How long have you like had a passion for illustration?
I've been drawing for as far as I can remember. So I just started as a child and then kind of pretty much just lost my passion when I was a teenager and then pretty much just got back into it at like 20 or so. So I pretty much just rekindled my passion at around 22, around-ish there.
Oh, okay.
But I've been on and off for my whole life, basically.
So when you were in college, did you take any art classes? Was there an interest there? Or how did you kind of pick it up again?
I kind of just picked it up randomly in a way, just over the holiday season. I just started drawing again. I've drawn for my whole life with pencil. So like only pencil. Of course, I have painted some stuff, but it was never mine. Mm-hmm. And it was just randomly. So it wasn't about college or something else. It was just a thing that I don't know where it came from, but then it just kind of started to grow bigger and bigger in a way. And well, here we are. But I didn't take any classes in college or something like this. We only had like the mandatory stuff in high school.
When did you pick up digital?
So I took up the pencil for like 2 or 3 illustrations. And then I don't know why, but I just saw something on Instagram with digital art and thought I could do this as well. At the time, I had only the old iPad from my brother, which he had from school, which was like really crappy, like an old model from like 2013 or so.
Oh,
so I just downloaded basically a free app and painted with my fingers at first. I wish I still had that picture, but it looked awful.
Oh man.
But it was still so much fun in a way. And then I just got into it, bought better equipment. And
now do you pretty much exclusively draw on Procreate?
I do, only Procreate, nothing else. I tried out other stuff with the PC as well, but it's just not mine. Especially since some artists don't have a problem with this at all, but just not connecting where your pencil goes and where your eyes look.
Yeah.
It's just so difficult to me. It was so hard.
Yeah.
I guess you get used to it.
But I must say, Procreate is amazing.
It has completely changed my life. It sounds so cheesy, but it has changed my life.
Thank you, Procreate.
Yeah.
So you majored in psychology
I did, yeah.
Okay.
So in work psychology, to be precise, yeah.
Okay. What made you decide to go down that route?
So I was always pretty much just interested in psychology as a whole. And work psychology was just something that I couldn't do right off high school because you had to work, you had to have some experience before. So to take those classes or go to this uni. And I'm just really interested in the marketing part, work, how do people see stuff, how do they process things, how do they talk to each other, stuff like this. It felt pretty natural to me in a way.
Where you're working now, you said that is a healthcare company. So
exactly, yeah.
Are you doing kind of what you are wanting to do like in the future with psychology, or like what were your goals?
I do. I first started off and wanted to go into recruiting, and then just pretty much just all the basic HR stuff. But now that I'm in personnel development, it's just so cool to always work with people and get to know people that want to move ahead. So it's not only just tending to the cases which have problems or kind of putting out fires, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, but it's just people that want to move forward and are motivated and stuff like this is just way more awesome to work with.
Do you have like a regular schedule that you draw on, or do you just like draw when you feel like it, or how does that look like?
I don't really have a schedule like from 9 to 10 or something like this, but I definitely draw every day. And it's not really like something that I have to discipline myself to. It's just something that pulls me in a way. I have had times where it didn't pull me that much. So then I actually put up a schedule and I used the don't break the chain method. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's from the book Atomic Habits. It's amazing. So the concept is really simple. You just don't break the chain. So every day you want to draw or you want to clean the dishes or train or whatever. Yeah. And you just make a cross for every single day. And you can break the chain once. So like you can skip one day because something can come up. But the rule is you have to do it never twice in a row. Because then you broke the chain. And it sounds so silly, but it worked wonders.
No, that's such a good idea. I've been meaning to read that book, actually.
Can definitely recommend it. It's amazing. Yeah. If you want to build up the stakes, I pretty much just gave myself a topic that I don't want to break the chain for like 3 months. So drawing every day. I went to my brother and gave him $100 and said that he can keep it if I broke the chain.
That is a wonderful incentive. I think that would work for me. I'd want my $100 back.
Exactly. It's not for everyone though. So just keep that in mind.
What kind of inspires the kind of scenes that you do? Because I noticed you have a very consistent theme going on.
I do. So I think you already noticed it's mostly escapism in a way. I mostly just draw the things I want to see in the world, and that we just lack in a way. Of course, there will never be this like perfect little world that is just whimsical and flimsy and everything. But there's just some part in me that needs this and wants this. So if I can't really have it in our world, I will just create it in a way. I think most creators start off with creating something that they need but isn't there. Yeah. Probably the same with you and your YouTube channel, I guess.
Yeah, I saw a hole and I wanted to fill it.
Exactly.
Do you use like references for your landscapes? What kind of reference images do you look at?
I don't really use landscape references as a whole. So like I will never draw just a landscape from reference. I just use so much references for a single thing. So small houses or details or animals, people, stuff like this. So that is vastly important, but I wouldn't say I would use a reference for a landscape because it just loses kind of its drive for me. If I just
if you're just like copying.
Not so much a problem with like these simple little details in there, but just the whole thing has to be from my mind. I would definitely choose to look at landscapes though, if you want to do environment art, but just never copying one of them, just always taking elements out of them. I guess some people just do this naturally with characters as well. But when I look at a reference, I just tend to like it so much that I actually copy it. That is never a good thing.
So how would you describe your style?
It's funny, I get asked this question often and I'm just always kind of lost.
Yeah.
Because it's not really realistic, of course, and I don't feel like it's cartoony in a way because I don't really accentuate too much or just kind of exaggerate. The closest thing that I've seen that was actually suggested to me from somebody else was ligne claire, which basically just comes from the French, meaning just clean lines. Comes from comic art as well. Not like really comical in a way, over exaggerated, but stuff that actually looks kind of normal in a way, just a bit of more abstract. So I would say line art. I'm pretty much just a line artist, although there's like huge variation there.
Who are your favorite artists?
Well, a guy that has always inspired me so much is Moebius. I don't know if you know him. Jean Giraud. He's actually sadly passed away, but he was a French comic artist that was just completely visionary with his works. Most of it was sci-fi, but not like your usual sci-fi with lasers and like actually like in the year 2400, but more like in a way Renaissance sci-fi. So that stuff. And I also get compared to him so much with my style because he's basically doing the same thing, or I'm doing the same thing as he did. It's funny because I did it without knowing him, and then people started recommending it to me and say, "You look like Moebius."
That's cool.
Let's see who else I really love. Guillaume Sangela. I don't know if I can text it to you if you want to.
Yeah, I'll probably have you message me how to spell that.
Then Tim McBurney. I just love Tim McBurney, an Australian artist. He sadly doesn't post too much on social media, but he has got these amazing concepts. Also in the fantasy realm. I just love Matt Rhodes. Matt Rhodes is doing comics and is pretty much conservative as well with social media, or he's doing just like bursts, these artists that are like 1 year completely active and then they're just gone. But his work is so damn clean. I just love it. But there's way too many artists that I love. It's just everybody does fantasy in a way. And the more they go into line art as well, then I can identify myself with the style. So I just love it even more.
Yeah, whenever anybody asks me like what my favorite artists are, like I always draw a blank, and so I have to like keep a list.
Yeah, it's hard. There's just way too many.
I really love Aaron Blaise. When I first got into digital art, he was somebody that I watched his tutorials a lot on YouTube. He's like an old Disney artist. He worked at Disney when they was like still like hand drawn or something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I would always have loved to talk to some artists that just didn't have the internet for like references and or imagine you didn't even have books. So you're basically in like the 16th century or something like this. Just where do they get this idea from? So
well, I'd imagine they'd have to be like studying way more than artists do now, because they whip up a picture of whatever they want and study it like on their iPod on their couch. They're probably
has to be your life.
Yeah.
I would also have loved to see how many women are or were drawing amazing stuff back then, but it was just never seen.
Yeah, but like it never reached the light of day.
That is such a shame.
Can you remember when you were a kid, what were your favorite animated TV shows or movies, or maybe if you like read a lot of comics or illustrated books, like what did you consume a lot of?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I don't remember too much of my childhood. Basically goes pretty much just blank 10 years. After 10 years, I just get my memories back, but before this, it
goes in deep storage in your brain.
It does. But I remember I watched a lot of, I don't know if it's the same in English, but Gummy Bears, basically.
Oh.
So like, or Gummy Bear Gang, I don't know. It's just a small gang of bears that is just hanging around the forest, setting in like medieval style with a bit of magic. I just always loved this. And I remember reading everything about dragons and elves. So
yes.
basically any book, though there wasn't too much TV shows as far as I remember, but there were a lot of books back then about dragons and elves. Oh, and I also loved Asterix. I don't know if you know these comics. They're pretty much just huge here in Europe. I guess it's not really that much of a thing in America, but he's been doing them like it started in the 60s or so. Ooh. Or it's just they're really old and they're still going. So
they're still going? Dang.
Yeah. He has passed away, but they kind of took it up and did it with the same style, did another stories and stuff like this.
What kind of characters?
So we're just everything with Celts basically.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So with druids and the Romans, but it's pretty much just kept like funnily with cool names and small little stories in there, and always some kind of adventure where they travel to distant lands and stuff like this. So it's really cool. It has always inspired me as a kid. It's
really cool. I really liked stuff with like history in it. So like historical fiction. Yeah. So really good. Do you watch a lot of movies now? Do you read any books?
I don't watch too many movies, but I still read a lot. So if it's not like self-improvement books and stuff like this, it's just usually just fantasy. I kind of didn't pick up anything else but fantasy my whole life. I tried different stuff. I got gifted different stuff and just read through like the first chapter, and it just always landed somewhere. I don't know, in the corner of my room. It was just never my thing. So fantasy has always been my go-to. I'm a huge fan of Walter Mörs. I don't know if it's a German author that does these like really unique fantasy worlds. So it's always set in the same world, kind of like mine. But he's always doing several different characters, and they sometimes just kind of get into other books as well from him, but they're not the protagonist. So it's like really cohesive and cool and unique, and there's no humans actually at all. So that is kind of unusual.
Okay.
But the characters just all behave like humans. They're all just like fantasy creatures, and they have like really human characters, so that makes it just lovable. It's cool. But I don't watch too many movies. Of course, as anybody knows, Ghibli is like my go-to thing.
Everybody says that.
But I don't really watch too many movies in a way.
Yeah, now in my adulthood, I don't really watch a lot of movies, but it's my goal to watch the Studio Ghibli movies because I haven't seen any of them.
Like, not one of them?
Not one.
Okay, that has to be done. It will change your life, I promise.
So when did you start your Instagram account, or when did you start posting art?
I think it was probably 3 years ago because time moves so fast.
Were you trying to like gain an audience when you started, or did it kind of just like happen as a result of you posting?
So when I started, I just wanted to put it up for my friends in a way. And then I just saw that other people liked it as well, but not too many. Then got kind of like the first hurdle of frustration because you kind of saw that it's a cool thing to have people like your art and just see your stuff and be into it. And then just like the first few hundred followers just dragged on so much, and it was kind of frustrating in a way. But then I'm not gonna lie, at some point you want to gain followers, but at the same time you don't want to gain just any follower. You want to gain followers that are active, that are just into your stuff. I'd much rather have 2,000 followers who just kind of love my stuff than 30,000 basically ghost watchers who only like, and that's it.
Yeah,
so they just scroll down.
So I found your Patreon and like your imprint account. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about those?
Yeah, so I've started a Patreon in I think last spring, where I just have basically 2 tiers. So the first of all is just early access, general support, just seeing my thoughts and just what I do. And the second one is actually a higher tier where I actually share some line art, sketches, stuff that I just don't really share on my socials, or just rarely share on my socials. And then actually PSTs. I don't know if I'm actually really underselling myself with those, and on the danger of kind of getting screwed over. But I'm just doing it because people love it. So
Yeah, I read that was the perk of the second, and I was like, wow, really? People get that for only that subscription?
I guess people that just want to be scammy and want to get this because of a print that they want to give an order themselves can just do it. I mean, I don't mind. I'm not really losing anything because of this, because those people wouldn't have bought anything anyway. So
yeah, true.
Doesn't matter.
What are some challenges that you face as an artist? What are your like struggles?
But I don't really struggle with it right now. But if I had to give some advice, it's not to take it too seriously with social media and just letting it affect your ego and watching your likes and your growth and whatever. And why hasn't this done well? And then am I at my fault? Or just basically just giving it too much weight. It's just never a good thing. You kind of learn to outgrow it in a way at some point, but you can definitely keep a stoic face in all of it. So that has been a challenge, which is, I'm glad that it's gone pretty much. I think my biggest challenge right now is just getting on screen what I imagine in my head, especially since you do abstract work. It's really hard to just abstract everything that I have in my mind, especially stuff that is like ethereal or misty, or it just takes a huge leap of courage in a way to kind of do a cloud with complete line art and not like with your basic brushes that just look better. So with lines, just every one of your strokes just counts. So it will always reveal that when it looks bad. I feel like most artists, and I did as well, struggle with their style. That pretty much just comes down to social media as well, to me, because you just see all these cool styles, and it's not really all their styles, but they're just vastly better than you, and you think it's because of their style, but it's actually because just of their experience, and they're just way more into the game. So you actually always feel like your style isn't enough or isn't to be taken serious or whatever. And it's actually just a gap in skill. It isn't about style.
Yeah, I would always like look at other people's style and be like, oh, maybe if I did it that way, like it would look as good as they. Like,
but then you try it.
It's not true. You just have to practice whatever style you do.
That there's also what I see. I didn't really struggle with this, but there's also so many artists that just kind of beat themselves up all the time while learning, and it also becomes kind of part of their identity at some point to beat themselves up over it. So I'm just the artist who can't draw shit, or it's just so bad at everything, and I wouldn't make money anyways with this. And it just becomes so much of a part of their identity that they kind of subconsciously hold themselves back from growing.
It's true. Like if you say it enough, like you're gonna believe it, and then it's gonna be true. So
it is. So that is also a thing to watch out for. And then they just always kind of seem to burn out on their art and need to take 1 month of pause or something like this, because they always push themselves to do it, and they don't really take the time to find the things that pull them into art.
That's a big one too. Yeah,
definitely. So that is just, well, it's sad in a way.
So if you were going to give, I know you gave a little bit of advice a second ago, but if you were going to give advice to somebody who was wanting to get into illustration or get better at drawing, what advice would you give that person?
So I'm more kind of the artist that isn't really into too much of the technical stuff. So I wouldn't really recommend just study more or take more references and stuff like this. I just say to watch out for this need to have a style early on, and just actually focus only on your voice, on your art voice. Just so, what do you want to draw? Why do you do art? And what is it that just pulls you into there? Because that's actually the thing that makes you want to grow. Or else it will just be a dreaded thing that like your professor told you to do, or you told yourself that you have to do this and this by then. And it's not just never that pull. It doesn't really feel natural. And it loses a lot of its joy. You might get better, but at what cost? So I'd much rather, I mean, to be completely honest, I won't grow as fast as people who actually take it like really seriously and go down the technical route and have like a schedule for what they want to train when. But I'm just way better off with my feelings. So that's worth it to me, at least. So that's the advice I'd give to people who aren't like the kind of person that is just really technical. So focus on what you want to do and why you do it, and the rest will just come naturally.
Yeah, as long as you're enjoying what you're doing. Like,
it is. It's so corny in a way, but it's always getting said or mentioned everywhere because it's just true. It will just pull you into, man, I just love drawing clouds. So you just naturally want to do them better.
Do you have any goals for your art for the future?
I do. I don't really set like time goals or timed goals in a way, because I'm usually the kind of person that pushes anyway. So
yeah,
I'm not really kind of procrastinating everything to like 10 years back, but I would love to make like 40% of my income with my art. So I would probably never give up just my usual work. I also don't really know if I want to make art my main income or just my only income source, because then it just takes away that joy, and I fear that it takes away some of that joy. And I'm just one of those artists that the only thing why I draw or why I start drawing is kind of that escape, that balance, that getting out of the usual stock life in a way. So I just fear it way too much to lose that. So that's just not worth it. But of course, it's cool right now because I'm making just a small income with it. But it's too irregular right now to actually say, well, I'm just doing the jump now. But it's definitely a long-term goal to kind of find balance with that as well.
Thank you so much for agreeing to chat with me today.
Thank you for doing this. I did as well. It was cool.
Hope you all enjoyed and learned something. Again, that was Simon Hinterman, or @OurMech on Instagram. If you enjoyed escaping into his illustrations, go follow him on Instagram and consider supporting him on Patreon. Both links will be in the description. And if you liked the video, I would appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button, drop a like, and comment what you thought about today's episode. To be notified when the next episode goes live, go ahead and hit the notification bell. Or you can follow me on my Instagram @ErinChristineRoss, where I also do artist features every weekday. So if you would like to be considered for a feature, or you have somebody in mind to be featured, you can head over to my Instagram and send me a message. Thank you for watching.